has lovely feedback to it. All the time you can hear that howl of the flat six hanging over the rear wheels there. I love the fact that you can rev these things right out. That is honestly the beauty of this little car. Welcome back to Feature Classics. My name is Becky Evans, and today we're going to take a look at this 996 911 Carrera 2. This was the first 911 in over 30 years that had been built from the ground up, out with the air-cooled and in with the water-cooled. But when this car came along, it was bigger, more luxurious, less of a hard-edged sports car, and it was the engine and the way this car looked that really ruffled people's feathers. It was the fried egg headlights that caused the most commotion. It was just too much of a departure from the signature circular headlights of all 911 generations before. And the other thing was, this car was actually developed alongside the Boxster as a money-saving exercise, and it shared a lot of its DNA, which to the 911 purists just wasn't acceptable. But let's put the looks aside. It was the fact that this was the first ever production 911 to feature a water-cooled engine. Out with the old and in with a new 3.4 litre naturally aspirated flat six. The need for efficiency, environmental changes, but also the greater push for performance. They needed 4 valves per cylinder, and that is what made the switch necessary.
My name's Aaron, and this is my 996 Carrera 2. I've always been into cars. Well, when I was 4, my dad had a Capri and I cried when he sold it apparently. And then he had a Dolomite Sprint, so it kind of got me into the kind of whole rear-wheel drive thing. I had a few different cars, a couple of different 911s, Boxsters, E30 M3. Prior to this one, I had a 997 II, which I sold assuming that all the prices were going to just carry on dropping during the pandemic. Unfortunately, yeah, that wasn't the case. So after a couple of months without a Porsche, I was browsing the classifieds and came across this one, which is like a 2-owner car. Last owner had it 20 years, so it just kind of spoke to me. It's kind of just old enough that it still feels quite analog, and there's no kind of traction control or anything like that. Not that I'm hooning around in it. I've usually got kids in the back, but yeah, it's kind of a simple, you know, rear drive, rear engine car. It's an early cable throttle one. You know, I'm absolutely not a kind of driving god, but you know, just all those little things, even just driving it slowly, it's just more, you're more involved in it, aren't you? So that's what I like about it, really. I guess there was a time when I would have bought this, immediately put like the clear lights on and whatnot, tried to update it, make it look a bit more modern. But I think it's really kind of aged really well. And now, like with the Friday again headlights and the amber lights on it, the indicators, I think it just looks right, really. I've not had any issues with the car. What have I done? Just like major service, gearbox oil change, just general bits and bobs, tidying things up, you know, doing little bits like jobs you could do at home, like respraying the windscreen wipers where they're corroded on the arms. I think with all Porsches, generally they seem to get cheaper at some point in their lives. I think this is pretty much, it's probably just coming out of its lowest of the depreciation. I think now, especially with like Porsche building that one-off Sport Classic 996, I think they're starting to be, you know, truly kind of acknowledged as part of the 911 heritage and not just kind of ugly duckling.
I have to admit, I am an air-cooled 911 owner, and I've heard a lot of chat about the 996. It divides people over its looks, divides people over the way it drives. But I'm looking at this completely subjectively, as if I was doing a blindfold test right now. When I started the car up, the 3.4 litre flat six, it's got a real nice crisp note to it. It kind of roars into life, And actually, as I'm going up and down the gears, it's tight, it's nimble, it's good fun. Whether or not you like the looks, it doesn't matter. This is still very much a 911 underneath. At the time when this car came out, obviously the 993 had departed. This came out, it was lighter, just over 1300 kg, and faster with 300 brake horsepower. This really did show that Porsche were trying to push forward in what was quite a tricky era for them. Ultimately, that's why they ended up sharing a lot of the DNA with the Boxster, because they ended up saving over 30% by sharing a lot of the parts with them. I've seen lots of things online of people having 996s and done many, many miles, up to over 100,000 miles in them, and enjoyed every second of it. If I was looking to buy one, I'd go for the Generation 2, as obviously with Gen 1, which had the first fried egg headlights, like the one that I'm driving right now, that had 300 brake horsepower and did a 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. But when they did the upgrade, it went from a 3.4 litre flat 6 to a 3.6 litre flat 6, which gave an extra 20 horsepower to bring the overall figure to 320. And then that would actually do 0 to 60 in 5 seconds flat. I don't think there's much difference to make between the two, but if you really are stuck on the headlights, I'd go for the Generation 2. It's a really rewarding drive. You don't have to be breaking the speed limit, you can just enjoy the way the car feels. The engineers designed it to be nimble, to be light, to be agile, and that's exactly how this car feels. Even today, you drive this and you think, that's exactly where the sweet spot's supposed to be. Feeling confident, feeling like you're having fun, but also you're not breaking the bank or the speed limit with a 996. There is no denying that the 996 is so much fun. I have had great fun batting this thing around some roads today. The steering is light, the gearbox is good fun, it's nimble, it's agile, it's got great balance. I always think that you should own just one 911 before you die, and this should be on your list. The 996 is going up in value all the time, so if you're looking to get on the 911 train, I would suggest you get on it quickly, as these won't be depreciating anytime soon. Well guys, thank you so much for watching Future Classics, and I will see you on the next episode. See you soon.